bit of a know-how video for you today. So Creative Expressions brought out their wordy sentiments probably like a year ago now, because they've got 12 different sets out now with the Halloween set. I think that was the 12th set of them. And they are these toner printed sentiments. So the ones that have the white on the black, you can foil the black areas, or the black on the white, you can foil the black areas and have a foiled actual word sentiment. However, I just love using them black and white, so I'd never actually tried foiling them, and I knew that I didn't have the right foil in my stash because I've never needed a toner reactive foil. I've only ever used the heat reactive foil, so I'd never actually tried foiling them. So I decided to use some of the foils that I already had and also buy a few other different kinds and do an experiment and see if hot foil foils would foil them, or if you have to use toner foils. Now, I think the difference between a hot foil and a toner foil is, I think a hot foil has some kind of adhesive built into the back of it, so that's why it works with the hot metal dies, because you heat it up and you're applying pressure in that pattern, and that activates the adhesive and the pressure pushes it onto the card just where the pattern is, which I think is why you sometimes get overfoiling if there's a little bit too much pressure in the wrong place. But I think that's how a hot foil kind of works. But with a toner foil, I don't think they have any adhesive properties at all. They actually will just react to something else that is adhesive, because when toner is, if you think of like a laser printer, I'm pretty sure the inks in a laser printer are kind of some kind of powder, and it's to do with the heat and the powder mixture that makes them print. So I think that is the actual toner ink that gets hot and turns into like an adhesive that the foil sticks to, if that makes sense. So the reason why hot foils don't work as well on toner printed stuff is because if you don't get the pressure right, not only will it stick to where the toner is because the toner gets hot and the foil will want to stick to it, but it will also stick to other areas, not just the toner area, because I think it has those adhesive properties in it. So if you've ever tried foiling a wordy or something else that has been printed with toner and says that it's foilable and it hasn't worked, try out a different type of foil, because you can still foil these with your hot foil kind of foils. And the examples of hot foil foils that I have, how many times have I said foil already, are the Spellbinders foils, the Couture Creation foils, some old Crafters Companion foils, and also some We Are Memory Keeper ones that are supposed to work with the foil quill that I think goes in your Cricut perhaps. I just bought those as a random experiment. I already had these two. I pinched this one off my mum, and then I bought these 4 different ones. And these bottom 3 are the ones that are designed to work with your toner. So you've got the Mink, the Deco Foil, and also Wow as well. And I'm pretty sure there are other brands too, but these are just the ones that I just wanted to get a selection to see if there was a dramatic difference between them, because I know the lovely Tracy at Creative Expressions managed to get Spellbinders foil to work perfectly straight away, without any like this overfoiling. But as I've been experimenting, I do think the colour kind of depends on the results you get, or maybe it's how hot your laminator is, or maybe the thickness of whatever printer paper you've run it through with. And when I was doing my original experiments, I did find if you run the sentiment through horizontal, so like parallel to your laminator, so say your laminator's here and you put your sentiment in this way round and you run it through, it doesn't foil very well at all. It kind of has especially with the hot ones, it has too much pressure and it literally just foils the whole thing. You can't even tell there was a sentiment on the piece of card. But if you put them through, so your laminator's here and you put your sentiments through this way, and you do them one at a time, but you put them through this way, you get much better results coming out at the end. So these are the best results. I'll cover up those bits for now, but these are the best results that I could get foiling with a laminator, running them through perpendicular to the laminator, and also using some 150 GSM vellum folded in half as my carrier piece to put it through the machine as well. I don't know if this is going to be useful to anybody, and I'm sorry if any of my facts or my thinkings, my theories of how foils work and stuff is wrong, but I just thought, because I spent all this time experimenting, I thought there might be somebody out there who is glad of the information of maybe that you haven't foiled anything yet and you want to know what foil will work. Then I've got a few brands here that would work, so hopefully it's helpful to somebody. But these are the best results that I could get with a laminator. So the Spellbinders was like a coppery bronzy colour that I chose, and you can see the black one wasn't too bad, but the white one has got loads of little speckles of overfoiling, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. This on a vintage looking card would look fantastic. It doesn't matter that there's speckles all over it, but if you are looking for that perfectly foiled design, then Spellbinders foil isn't the way to go, or especially not this colour anyway. I then tried with some Couture Creations foil. Because I have the Go Pressing foil, I bought Couture Creations and Spellbinders foils to go with them, and you can see again it's a pretty good attempt, actually better than this one I'd say for this colour, but you do still get that overfoiling. This was some really cheap Crafter's Companion foil that Mum had got cheap in a craft shop ages ago, and I didn't know what kind of foil it was. I think it was advertised to be used with like a sticky product, so I wasn't sure if it was going to work, you know, with toner or with hot foil plates, but I think it is more of a hot foil kind of a foil, and you can see the very speckly effect you've got on this word here, and it's also sort of speckled the font, but that looks quite nice. And if you inked over that, you could have a mottled font look as well, rather than it just being on white too. So although it hasn't foiled as perfectly as you might want it to, it still does give a foiled effect. So I'm not saying don't use any of these, I'm just saying that there's different foils that will work better if you want a perfect image. The next one I tried, which was some that I bought specially, are these foil quill ones, because they were actually really reasonable. You got 30 A6 sheets, and I think it was like £6 something on Amazon, and you got all different colours in there, so I thought that was a really nice one to try, because it gives you a load of different colours with just one packet, which is nice. It does work to do the sort of toner foiling, but again it gives that speckly kind of look, but it's definitely a good cheaper option with, you know, a variety of colours in one packet for your hot foiling. I'm pretty sure it would work with your hot foiling if it gives the same kind of results as the other foils that work with hot foiling. So that is the result I got from that. And then the next three, some of my foiling might not be perfect because I was kind of just rushing to do experiments, but these ones give so much better or crisper results. So the first one is the mink foil, and I picked a teal colour, and obviously the mink is designed pretty much to just be used with toner things, isn't it? Or I think they do toner ink pads and possibly some gels or pastes or something as well, but the original kind of mink idea is just like it's kind of a laminator and you run things through it. But these are the results that I got with that, and you can see how perfectly this works. I was thinking I might end up getting this same speckled effect, but really when you do actually use toner activated foils with toner printed stuff, it does work perfectly, so you get that beautiful effect with that one. This was a deco foil, and I picked this mottled green colour. This was the one I picked. I don't know if it has a name on it. Oh, Emerald Watercolour this one is called, but I really like that mottled effect, and I didn't have anything like that in my stash. And I also wanted to try a toner activated foil that had a pattern on, because my Rainbow Spellbinders one did not work at all, so I wondered if it was just patterned ones that didn't work properly, but this one worked perfectly on both the black outside or the black wording as well, and you get that cool variegated effect, so I think I might be buying some more colours in that. And I also wanted to try the Wow foil as well, because they do their own version of toner printed stuff which are called Fab Foilers, and they work really nicely with the waste of your foil, so I'll show you that in a second too. But that is how beautifully that dark blue came out on these. So if you're looking for a foil that works perfectly, ones that I have tested and that I know definitely work are Mink Deco Foil and Wow. But if you have any of these ones and you want to give it a go, you can get sort of distressed effects with them as well. Just make sure you run your sentiments through one at a time and do them perpendicular to your laminator, so they're going through the shortest bit first, so the heat kind of runs along the whole thing. I feel like that is the best result. And I experimented with using a folded piece of printer paper, but found when I was doing the printer paper, even running it perpendicular, it was still like too much pressure for some reason, or maybe too much heat, I'm not sure. But the folded vellum worked really well as a carrier sheet. So those were all my experiments with the laminator. Oh, I didn't show you. This is how Wow foils come. So I don't think you get quite as much in these packets as other packets, but because you don't get as much, they're cheaper to buy, so you could buy more colours in the different packets, you know. You wouldn't have to buy such a large amount of one single colour. And the Wow also do these cool fab foilers. I treated myself to this background one and the solid panels, because when you foil any of these, you're left with the waste pieces of foil. So these aren't particularly brilliant because I was just doing a little experiment, but this is the actual printed toner sheets from this little packet, and you can actually use the waste foil there and get a second sentiment out of it. I mean, I didn't do a fantastic job, but if you were more careful and did a better job of it, you would then get twice as many sentiments pretty much. If you foiled all of your sentiments from one packet of these, you'd kind of get twice as many, because you could use all of the waste pieces as well if you combine them with one of these Fab Foiler solid panel sheets. So I wanted to say that too. And showing it all in one go, I foiled one of those backgrounds, or half a piece of one of those backgrounds, with all of the different foils that I tried here. So all 7 foils that I tried, and you can see, if you look at this side, they all foiled, but it's a little bit more speckly in those white areas. You've got quite a few speckly sort of areas with the heat activated foils, but the other 2, or 3 even, yeah, 3 on that side, are all of the toner activated foils, and you can see how perfectly they foil. So if you want to see it all in one piece, that kind of gives you the effect. Like, there's nothing wrong with using your heat activated foils with them. You do still get a cool result. This is running it through in the folded piece of vellum through my laminator. But that is the kind of results, just showing them all in one go. You do get much crisper results using actual toner foil rather than the heat activated foil. So I thought I'd just show you that as well. And then I'd also seen Marion Emberson, who works for Wow, which is where I discovered those fab foilers. I'd also seen her foiling with an iron and a heat tool as well, so obviously I had to try it and see if it worked. Now again, you do get the best results with the ones that are meant for the toner, although it is a bit hit and miss, because if you hold the iron on for too long, or if you don't press the foil down, or, you know, all sorts of different aspects kind of vary your results that you get. You can get bad results with them too. But I found the best kind of results with the heat tool. See, some of these here, if you have a look at them, some of these have got curved marks here, because Marion says in her video to heat and pounce on the foil to get it to come into contact, but that works with the toner foils. But if you do that with the heat activated foils, you get marks of where your heat tool touched the cardstock. So the best way of foiling with a heat tool, if you wanted to try it, is to put your foil over the top of your sentiment, but just heat it from a distance, and then take your sleeve or something thick and rub over the foil, so you're not feeling the heat. That's why you need something thick, to rub over the foil whilst it's still warm, and then peel it off, and that gives really good results. So I think all of these 4 here I did that with, and that gives the best results when foiling with a heat tool. So these ones I was pouncing the tool on there, and that's why I got so much blobby kind of foiling or missed areas. But if I went back and did that method of heating further away and then pressing with my sleeve, I think I would get better results, but I'm not saying they'd be anywhere near as good as the toner foiling. And then you can also foil with your iron, but when you're ironing, you kind of don't really know how much pressure or heat you're applying to it, and so therefore you can end up getting just completely foiled blocks and you don't know what on earth was underneath there. So this kind of result here was what I was getting with the Rainbow Spellbinders foil when I put it through the laminator, and also what I was getting when I put the sentiments through the laminator parallel, so they were going through the long side first. I was just getting complete foiled pieces coming out. In some cases it kind of looks cool. This one, it kind of gave like a haze over the top of this A Million Thanks one. It just sort of gave a little hazy kind of effect. So you might just be lucky with whatever kind of results you get. But I did find the best way of foiling your wordy sentiments, which is what this video is supposed to be about, even though I've gone off on loads of different tangents. But the best way to foil your wordy sentiment is to use a toner activated foil, and 3 brands that I have tried and I know work are the Mink, the Deco foil and the Wow foils as well. And if you are going to do a lot of foiling with your wordies, I would recommend getting a packet of these solid panel fab foilers so that you can utilise your waste foil and get a second sentiment out of them as well. I think these are going to be fantastic for doing that kind of thing with. So I hope this video was useful to somebody. It wasn't really like that scientific of experiments, you know, there was a little bit of, you know, multiple variables changing, you know, from different experiments, but I think it kind of gives a good overview of why you kind of are supposed to use toner activated foils with toner printed stuff, but you can get results with your heat activated foils if you don't mind a little bit of a shabby chic or distressed kind of look. So yeah, hopefully this was useful to somebody, and I hope you enjoyed watching as well, even if it wasn't useful to you, maybe in the future, or maybe you are watching this years in the future and you were just looking for somebody's video on how to foil a wordie. Hopefully it was useful. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again in the next video. Bye!